Bartenders of Reddit, what was the worst first date you've ever witnessed? I'm not a bartender, but friends with a bartender who told me about her own bad date. They make plans to go out, and she ends up driving the guy to the event, but before they even get there he says he has to take a leak. They can't find anywhere with a public restroom, so he ducks into an alleyway to piss behind a dumpster. Then she hears him start swearing profusely. Wondering what's wrong, he finally admits he gambled and lost and has shit his pants. She promptly drove him home with the windows open, nobody talking. End date. Was working a bar one weekday night. Woman comes in, orders a drink and sits at the bar. On the opposite end of the bar, a man comes in, orders a drink and takes a seat. An hour passes. They are sat in positions that block their view of the other. After an hour, I hear the man mutter, "A fuck this," and put on his coat to leave. Heads for the exit near where the woman is sat. They spot each other and realize what happened. Personally, if that happened to me, I'd think it'd be very funny. But these two seemed annoyed with each other, didn't seem to talk a great deal and parted after about 45 minutes. The biggest question of all really was, why didn't either text their whereabouts to the other? Hahaha. Surely they had communicated beforehand. Her husband showed up and he was pissed. Was a bartender for over a decade. Watched a guy leave the bar to use the bathroom. The girl he was with first date said to me, "How many times do I have to bring a date here for you to finally hit on me?" I told her I was engaged and have zero interest. The guy was back from the bathroom and overheard her say that. Proceeds to lose it on her in front of everyone, which is understandable, and they both scream at each other and leave the bar. That was their first date, and I have not seen anything worse since. I actually knew the girl from several years back, only realized after the fact after she'd left. Her and her date seemed to get along okay at the start, but after about half an hour neither of them seemed to be talking. For another half hour they kinda didn't say much, looking at their phones a lot until the guy literally just got up and left. She decided to just take out her laptop and work on some Photoshop project for a while before heading off. I was bouncing one night when there was a first date going on. Was an earlier than my shift start time. His date went to the bathroom, he went up to the bar, pounded a few shots, then attempted to grope a woman sitting at the bar. His date walked out of the bathroom as I was hauling him out. My own. I bartended a bar in between other things I had going on at the time 25 years ago. A pretty RN from the local hospital would stop in after her shift. She eventually asked me out. On a free weekend first date we went to another bar that had a band that night. She went full Elaine from Seinfeld dancing. Like, people got out of her way to let her dance her crazy shit, which only fed her idea that people thought she was an awesome dancer. This wasn't a bad date, but it's definitely a first date story I like to tell. Was tending an empty bar one night when a good-looking blind dude in his 40s with a seeing eye dog came in. He sat at the bar, asked some questions and I got him some wine. He was really friendly and we were having a good time chatting. Told me he was meeting his date there and then they were gonna leave to see a show. He then asked me, "Hey, can my dog sit at the bar?" "You mean, in a stool at the bar?" "Hell do that?" "Yeah, there was no one else there." "Okay man, sure." He snapped his fingers and the dog, a full-grown German Shepherd, hopped into the bar stool, and now both he and his dog were sitting across from me, all three of us on equal eye level. This was pretty entertaining, and I was having a blast joking with the guy. He then asked if his dog could have a beer. After a quick back and forth I poured an IPA into a bowl in front of the dog, who housed the whole thing in about 10 seconds flat. 5 minutes later the hottest woman I've ever seen walked in, said hi Jerry. He paid his bill and left with her and the dog to go to a jazz show for their first date. Coolest motherfucker I have ever met. Think about him all the time. Not witnessed, but heard girl and guy go on blind date. They've been talking on phone before to get to know each other and here comes first date. Met at a bar. He was there first waiting and she came in. They talk for a minute and he says, "Oh, let me get the flowers I got you." It's in the car. He walks out and doesn't return. Felt bad for her. You can at least finish date or drink and then gracefully leave. She told me she was still in love with her ex. He was in prison for child molestation. They were talking about the angel shot cocktail and its implications. Both knew what it was. She ordered it in front of him. He just got up and left. She ordered a pound of wings and cried while eating them. A young couple, no more than 20. He ordered for her red flag 1. What he ordered for her was a salad red flag 2 and a nice big oof to pair with it. He ordered a standard, meat and potatoes entree for himself. Before the food arrived he went to the washroom, and she flagged me down, saying she was leaving and asked if she could pay her half. I told her no, he ordered everything, he could pay for it. She thanked me and bailed. Took him probably 30 minutes to ask if she had left, and I explained that she had, and why. And in the end, I got to eat the salad he ordered for her. Couple walked in, couldn't get a table so they ate at the bar. Told me they were on their first date in random convo. Checked back at one point after they had a meal and a third guy was talking with them. Seemed like the two guys were just chatting over her. She was sitting in the middle. I thought they were buddies. Turns out they had all just met too. Original guy went to bathroom or something because when I checked back she ordered their tabs. He comes back, they both leave together. Later in the night I noticed that third guy still going strong. In the midst of him deciding if he wanted his tab or another drink, he reads a text before answering me and all of a sudden just says he will take another beer. Fast forward to last call and I catch that third guy with the first date gal making out at the end of the bar, followed by him asking me if they will tow his car if he leaves it here, as he was going to ride with her. While some may feel bad for the original guy, I say he clearly dodged a bullet. I don't recall seeing either of those two first daters again. I was a bartender at a restaurant. A 13-year-old boy came in for his first date with a 13-year-old girl. His mom brought them. She planned on getting them seated at the table and then leaving them alone to come eat at the bar herself. The boy would not let her leave. The girl hinted multiple times about the mom leaving. The mom hinted about leaving too. He just ignored them. Finally, the mom says she's leaving to give them some privacy. When she tries to get up, the boy reaches out and grasps her arm and tells her not to leave. They all sat there awkwardly at the table. One of the servers heard the girl in the bathroom on the phone making fun of how weird he was being about not letting his mom leave then. I assume he was a finance bro. He did a line before she came, only noticed because he was rubbing his nose immediately when he came back. Told the girl that he's on a bis tier and that if she plays her cards right she'll get a YSL. BAG then proceeded to tell her that he wants to do coke of her tits. Needless to say she left and I laughed. I was the bartender at a very busy club. Her best friend brought her in to meet me without telling me. She lied about her name. Been married 20 years. Working at a craft beer bar, this guy asked me out right in front of his absolutely stunning date and kept winking at me throughout the night. She left, he did not get my number. Whenever I was their most exciting part of their night. Otherwise they were sitting in silence just listening to the band. Not a bartender, but I went to a pub with my then girlfriend around 6 or 7 years ago. Guy comes in and sits down at a small table for two. Waiter brings 2 menus and a pitcher of beer with 2 glasses, even though he's by himself. It's obvious he's waiting for a date. Over the next 60-70 minutes, he kept checking his phone more and more. He ordered his food, he ate probably half of it. Around 90 minutes after arriving, he realized he'd been stood up and just started ordering what looked like Jack and Cokes. Powered through about 7 or 8 of them, while just staring blankly at the wall. He paid his tab, got up and stumbled out and walked down the street. Felt really bad for that dude. As a bartender, I once made a joke about pigeon fucking on a first date, which she did not enjoy. Turns out she was a vegan and a very active animal rights activist, and she worked at our local animal rescue. So I guess that one. Estranged husband popped up. He was huge. Oh man, I've seen a few. But there was a woman my age, late 20s at the time, and an older man 50s, maybe meeting each other for the first time. He spoke, but she was zoned out completely. The vibe from the two of them was all over the place. She wasn't even pretending to listen to the guy. After he paid and left, she stayed with me and flirted only to find out I'm gay. Lol, we hung out a couple times, and I found out she was in an open marriage and has her own sex-themed podcast. She was cool, it's just I almost feel that the meetup at my bar was a catfish situation. Not a bartender, but saw a dude at the theater I used to work at. He was dressed up and had flowers for Valentine's Day. He sat in the lobby for over an hour, and quietly came up to the counter and asked if he could return his tickets. Not the bartender, but was at a bar with a date when she felt the need to tell me about her brother overdosing. Date went south quickly after that. Long story short, I don't know how to console people, especially strangers. Thanks for making me cringe thinking about what the bartender overheard. Gave Brett, a close friend, low alcohol tolerance, a pepper draft. He was feeling spicy tonight. Right after talking to this cute girl, he faceplants right between her legs trying to get out of his chair. After that happened, his impeccable drunken Scottish wisdom won her over. He somehow got her with you're a pot and I'm a pan, you know why? You're the Burger King anyways. The two get in bed and he puked upriver. Yeah, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Why did I even write this? Oh yeah, now I remember. HES the Burger King, they also got married a couple years later.